Sorry. And you, no, it's okay. Multitasking is. Checking that you can hear me at home. I think you can. And that view looks all right. Good. Got a nightlight in my pocket. Not sure why. Put it there. But always be prepared. You never know when you might need a plastic battery-operated nightlight for a tiny amount of light that it gives. We're going to start in Sukhasana, simple cross-legged position, which you can sit on blocks or sit straight on the floor. It's up to you. Well, it's not up to you. It's up to what the body's doing. So if your back is collapsed, sitting on one block or even 2 blocks really helps the spine to be upright. The difference between this pose, which is Siddhasana, and this pose, which is Sukhasana, is that there's a gap. And we're doing Sukhasana, the latter, not the former. The palms face up. The attention goes into the heart center, the Hridaya in Sanskrit. From the Sanskrit root hurt, HRT, not hormone replacement therapy, but it just means heart in Sanskrit. Shoulders down, and happiness, is optional, I suppose, but there's something inherently happy about sitting in Sukhasana because the limbs of action, the limbs of reaching out, are partially immobilized. So that compulsive tendency, the edge is just taken off that a little bit, just by having the legs crossed. So that combined with the relaxation that, of course, I hope you associate with yoga and perhaps with the Brighton Buddhist Center, relaxation or shaitilya in the Sanskrit language, the relaxation to feel absolutely, so relaxed that you don't feel like you have to second guess anything or you have to wonder if anything's okay or not. It's all okay, it's like this. Inhale to lift. Exhale to turn, right hand on the floor behind you, left hand crosses over both legs. Soften the jaw until the temples recede. The eyes release towards the inner corners naturally. Nothing's contrived, nothing's done, there's nothing to fret about or to wonder about or to reach out for. It's very, 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 very relaxed, necessarily so. So that starts with the breath, doesn't it? So taking deep breaths, relaxing your bum, and feeling the spine. The sides, the lateral sides of the spine, short one side, long the other. Just experiment with deliberately shortening and lengthening by dipping up or down on each side, and use that to tune in on a holistic sense of alignment rather than one that's sort of contrived and tight and we're squeezed into. Holistic means we've gradually come to agree with it on every level: physical level, respiratory level, mental level. Lift and turn the other direction similarly. Take an extra deep breath if you want, any time that you want. Breath is so central to yoga. Everyone knows that. I remember when I first started yoga and I thought I knew everything about it pretty quickly, Within practice, I probably practiced for about 3 years and I thought I was the world's greatest authority in yoga. And that's often the way, isn't it? When you're new to something, you know a little and then you don't know how much there is to know. But I remember my mum saying something like, "Oh, yoga, that's all about the breath, isn't it?" And I said, "No, Mum." No, it's about stretching and stuff. But she was right. Of course she was. So the breath is really at the center of yoga because the breath is the representation or representative, I should say, of everything, of the mind, of the body. What the body's doing shows up in the breath. what the mind is doing shows up in the breath. And here we're shortening and lengthening the lateral sides of the spinal column. Of course, in yoga, we can even think about these as channels. And we're breathing into that. So, shortening and lengthening. The purpose is to tune in like an old-fashioned radio dial. And of course, tuning in is simultaneously tuning out of whatever the mind took hold of. Our job as yogins is to continuously let go. To continuously come back to the origin nature. Otherwise, we keep carrying stuff over. It distorts our perception. That distorts our actions. That distorts the feedback we get from our actions. That distorts in turn our perceptions again. And round we go. It's called samsara. Return to center when you're ready. Well done. Take your legs into a wide stride. Now, if you're sitting on a block, the thing to do is to turn the block diagonally so that the corner of the block just slightly protrudes in front of the pubic area, the pubis, so that your thighs are free. And then you draw the buttock flesh out and back. Good job. Thighs face straight up, even if you've got adorable teddy bear legs that roll backwards like that. Bring them forwards again, just so they're not too adorable. I can't bear it. Fingers on the floor, chest up. Breathe through your nose. Close your eyes if you want, or keep one open if you're someone who's a bit suspicious. And then as you lift, feel the relationship between lift and descent. And the breath as well. So lift in the chest, descent of the thighs. See if you can feel the relationship between lift and descent. Lift in the chest and the tummy. Descent of the thighs. The more of one, the more of the other. So for some of you, I can see some people finding it difficult to lift with their hands in front. The best thing to do, therefore, in fact, we'll do it all together so no one feels that they're left out. Fingers, we're going to bring our fingers back behind us, and then we're going to roll the shoulders, and you can see really lifting the chest up, really lifting the xiphoid cartilage, xiphisternum, and the bottom of the breastbone. But then the tummy is also toned. And that tone helps to bring length. And then we want to bring integration. So we've got length in the lower back, and lift in the chest, and movement can bring integration. So if you search around for the lift, you move left, you move right, you move forwards, you move backwards. You're searching for integration to bring more and more waifs and strays into the lift, into the body, into the breath. Inhale, lift, and turn towards your right leg. This is the Parsva Upavishta Konasana. The breath again is the indicator of where tension is, and if there's tension there and where it is. And it's simultaneously the method by which we respond to any tension. So in Vajrasati Yoga, we say listening / response. Now, some people feel comfortable to turn and lean more, and that's fine. What we need is just enough lean over the leg to put the downward pressure on the leg that invites the release of the breath that will let go of the tension in the leg. We don't need too much stretch, we need the right amount. So a little bit of lean is enough, and then you breathe. If the pose takes you forwards, that's fine. Forwards doesn't mean better. You look it up in the dictionary, you won't find forwards equals better, doesn't it? Forwards just means forwards. Right? Sometimes going backwards is better. So the point is, what's better in yoga is what releases your breath. Full stop. That's the end of that sentence. So if it's going backwards, if it's staying where you are, if it's moving forwards, the criteria is the same. Is it inviting you to release the breath? And then are you going with that invitation? Coming calmly up and turning around to the other leg. Don't forget the back one though. Can you feel energy release through calmness into the back leg? Energy means awareness or sensation. So if you feel tingling, if you can feel awareness, if there's any visualization, any of those things of the back leg, relaxation, extension in the back leg. Then lifting and turning, again, you only need enough just to stimulate the invitation to release. Oh, this is why it's all about the breath. And signs of how to practice are all over the yoga tradition, particularly in the Yoga Sutra. The yoga is empty of grasping. It's non-violent. We only take what is freely given. It's truthful. It's focused on the subtle. It evokes a sense of purification. It invites investigation. These are all translations from the Yoga Sutra into English from the Yoga Sutra. Coming back up when you're ready. Nice and calm, nice and easy, no haste, no rush. Bring your legs back together. Come towards your feet towards this side of the room. So you come into a cross-legged position. If you've got tightness in your lower back, it's worth putting 2 blocks long side to long side and putting your feet on those. Otherwise, simple cross-leg, buttocks tucked under, elbows down, buttocks tucked under again, and you lay down. And most people probably will take a deep breath after a few moments. So feel free, if that feels natural. The adductors get a stretch, and you feel from your inner groins. Yeah, so it's a really, lovely opportunity to say yes with the breath, with the mind, with the body, to the stretch invitations. So you study with the breath. It's the breath that you use to scan the body with. And simultaneously, it's the breath that changes up tensions and releases them. So for example, you can bring your awareness to your inner thighs. And if they're holding tension, so will the breath. And as soon as you can feel that, it's likely that the breath will release, and so will the inner thighs, and so will the mind. The mind will be invited to release. Now, that can be more tricky because it's not hard to release the mind, but we do have various beliefs that we're attached to. We might believe that we can't let go of a certain thing because we've got to hold on to it like a problem. Sometimes we've got problems, haven't we? Sometimes they're coming from ourselves, we think. Sometimes they're coming from other people, we think. And then when you are invited to let go in the breath, things that you're attached to mentally, like problems, they're invited to release as well. And that's actually very, very easy. It's effortless to release problems. The only difficulty is sometimes we believe that we shouldn't. We should hold on to the problem until we've sorted it out, until we've ironed it out. But there's nothing to iron out if you let it go. It's almost too simple for the mind, which thinks, no, I've got to get to the bottom of it. I've got to make sure this never happens again, blah, blah, blah. The truth is, you never step in the same river twice. It never will happen again. Nothing ever will happen again. Everything's different all the time. And the only way to be ready for the future, which is unknowable, and actually is the eternal present, is to not hold on to anything. So the mind is light, adaptable, available, so it can respond. Let's change the cross of the legs, the other one in front. I personally find it quite useful to bring my hands to the buttocks and scoot them under towards the heels. That just gives my lower back a little bit more length, which I like. Don't forget, if your lower back is tight, place your feet onto blocks, two blocks, long side to long side, or even 4 blocks, same pattern, but a 2-story building, as it were. Now, your hands, by the way, can be placed on your ribs or your chest or out to the side or over your head. The over the head position has a few advantages if you work it right. Now, working it right, first of all, means moving your shoulder blades repeatedly. So you prise the bottom inner edge of each shoulder blade out and up. And you do that by bringing your arms to the right to move the left shoulder blade, to the left to move the right shoulder blade. The advantage of having the arms over the head, if you work it right, is that the psoas and iliacus, but actually mostly the psoas in this case, gets an invitation to release. So we're talking, see if you can feel these bits of the body as I mention them, inner groins, across the lateral pubic bones, outer edge of the pubic bone, underneath the belly muscles, attaching to the sides of the lower spine, up to the 12th thoracic vertebrae, which is the vertebrae or the spinal bone that connects to the bottom of the ribs. So the sides of the spine up to the beginning of the bottom of the ribs. Either side, we've got 2 psoases, one each side, across the lateral pubis as they emerge out from underneath the belly and attaching to the top of the inner thighs. The part across the lateral pubis is easiest to feel in a stretch, but you can feel the deep psoas via the breath. Its tension, its release is the psoas's tension, the psoas's release. But remember, your mind will also have to release if the body and breath are going to be able to. Fortunately, you can't just release your body without releasing the breath. And fortunately, you can't release your breath without releasing your mind. Okay, bring your legs back together, soles of the feet on the floor. Get your bum as close to your feet as you can. So you might shimmy in using your triceps on the floor and just wiggling in to get your bum really close to your feet and your feet really close to your bum. We're going to keep the arms stretched over the head. Before we do anything else, we're going to tone the tummy, meaning we draw the tummy in towards the spine and we lift the ribs up towards the head and then lift the pelvis. Now you can feel your bum, both sides of the gluteal muscles. And it's good to really tune in to the simple, direct experience. What's lovely about these teachings is it doesn't ask you to learn something that's abstract or distant or confusing. It just says feel things the way they are. So here, the buttocks, the way they are, isn't what we think that they are, but it's just the way they are. They feel like this, you know. And as they push up, they tone. And you just sensitize to that sensation. And the reason why there's this strong focus on things the way they are is obvious, because it's only by knowing things as they are that you can respond appropriately. But also, knowing things as they are means knowing that everything is actually a sort of living experience that can't be grasped. It's buzzing, it's fizzing, it's changeable, it's interdependent. So as you push the buttocks up, you're also in touch with that interdependent experience. The hamstrings are also active, back of the legs. And you feel. Don't think about it. If you're holding your breath a bit, then you're thinking about it. Feel it. Don't have to be static either. You can move. My pelvis is moving side to side just to avoid getting caught in a thought. Okay, descend slowly and calmly. And once you're down, take a deep, deep, deep breath with a sigh-like exhale. Take a few, really let go. Imagine this is a process like a closed fist processing into an open palm. This is what the project of the class, of all classes, the closed fist, morphing into an open palm. Now, go ahead and roll over when you're ready. You can move your blocks if they're still under your feet. You can move those out of the way. And then extend your lower arm and bottom ribs along the floor. Lower arm and bottom ribs. I always think I look like I'm in a dramatic death scene at the end of a ballet. Maybe that's just an aspiration that wasn't fulfilled, but I'm not dead yet. Who knows? You can roll forwards, you can roll backwards, breathing deep, jaw soft. Now the pelvic floor, perhaps it's obvious, but I'll tell it. I'll mention anyway. The pelvic floor is the area between the pubic bone and tailbone. We want to tune in on that area, and that's simple. If we're thinking about it, we're thinking how should it be and how should it feel, then we get confused. But if we simply tune in, like tuning into a kiss, or like tuning into the sun on your face when it's just right, or tuning into what I call a sun road on the ocean. I like to swim along them. Or tuning into the smell of a flower. We tune in. We're not thinking, we're tuning in. It's different, isn't it? It's in a sense, when you tune in to, say, smelling a rose, you let yourself melt. So you disappear. There's no future, no past. There's no ideas about what you are. You just become rose. Everything about you for a moment. There's nothing else except rose. Same thing here. So tuning in on the pelvic floor like that is a powerful living experience. And because it's living, the mind just can't cling. And when the mind can't cling, it doesn't cling. Now stay in touch with the pelvic floor when you raise your top leg. And that's an art. Yoga is an art. Quite a lot of yoga pitched itself as a science back in the Victorian days because that was seen as, proper, grown up. But actually yoga can also be seen, and perhaps in some ways seen better, as an art. There's even a book by B.K.S. Iyengar called The Art of Yoga, which is actually hilarious. But he didn't mean it to be, but the little taglines he's got for the photos of him in the poses are things like, "Now I see you," or "Peekaboo," things like that. Anyway, I like the idea yoga's an art. The top leg can move backwards, forwards, stay in touch with the pelvic floor. The living experience, the breath-centered experience of the pelvic floor. Notice how the mind in this is flowing with the way things are. It's called flow. Very popular word in yoga now, isn't it? Flow. Vinyasa flow, hatha flow. Flow or vahita is indeed a super important principle to experience. When you're ready, bring that leg back down. Breathe through your nose if you can. Prop yourself up on your ulna, that's your forearm bone. Hands as if holding a bunch of flowers. The elbow a little forwards of the shoulder, not back like this, but a little forwards of the shoulder. One leg behind you, like this, and then push up to come up. Breathe through the nose. You can have either the hand on the wrist, on the floor, on the hip, in the air. You can do things like raise the heel of the back leg if you wanted to. Some people even like raising the lower leg. Some people really don't like that. And that's fine either way. It's about flow and only about flow. It's not about a person trying to get some accolades or accomplishments. It's about the person disappearing, like into the smell of a rose or a kiss or a sun road or smell of fresh cut grass or whatever it is. Okay, well done. Come down calmly, knees up, swap round to the other side, laying similarly dramatically or melodramatically on your side, like in a death scene in a ballet that I'm in. Final scene, Jim Taran dies on stage, spotlight slowly fades, audience goes wild and throws flowers at him. Marvelous day it's been. Now, roll forwards and backwards, enjoy yourself. I think there's a song that goes, enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Not sure who it's by, King Buster maybe. Anyway, rolling is done for enjoyment. And what is enjoyable here is what is absorbing. So looking for absorbing sensations. So, sometimes we can misunderstand the yoga tradition and think that, really pleasant experiences aren't what we're going for. But there's a difference between sort of frivolous fun, and I'm not against that, but and deep yogic pleasure. And the difference is pleasant things are absorbing, really deeply pleasant. Like the smell of a rose or, the sound of fallen leaves under your feet or, there's a million things, aren't there? Stay in touch or get in touch with the pelvic floor, honestly, which again is not something you're trying to do, but something you give yourself to, like smelling a rose, and then lift the top foot. Stay in touch with the pelvic floor. That's the project. This is the area between the pubic bone and tailbone. 4 principal muscles, in case you're interested. If you hold your breath, you've picked up the wrong tool. If your breath goes tight, you've picked up the tool of planning, which involves me. I'm supposed to be doing something, when you should be picking up the tool of presence. Right tools for the right jobs. So presence is the tool by which we merge with the moment. And it's the merging with the moment that causes us to drop whatever the mind had taken hold of, making us light and spontaneous. Stay, if you can, in touch with the pelvic floor. That's the project as you bring your leg down and come up on your own forearm. Breathe through your nose. One leg behind, one leg in front. Elbow a little forwards of the shoulder. If ready, when ready, push and lift. You can have your hand, as I mentioned, on your wrist, on the floor, in the air. You can raise the heel of the lower leg. It's all psychophysical, You can breathe, you can raise bottom leg. It's psychophysical. That's the whole point. It's not another point or a little bit of another point. That's the whole point. So breath, breath, breath. Calm, calm, calm. Lay. Okay, well done. Come down calmly when you're ready, which is now. Come round onto hands and knees. Up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog. And breathe through your nose. Some deep breaths. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of cycling around, a bit of movement left and right, a bit of movement of the pelvis in circles or swaying. Some padding of the heels. So meditative merging with the molecules of the mat and the molecules of your mitts, aka your hands. Meditative merging with the molecules of the mat and the molecules of your mitts. Breathing deep. As you move this way, move that way. Let it be conducive to disappearing into a hug, into the ocean, into the smell of a meadow, into, whatever makes you forget yourself in small Y at the beginning, makes you remember yourself. Big Y at the beginning. Now, take the hand that's furthest away from me and bring it into the midline of the two hands and turn around to face me. So, and now you can use your other leg behind you. That makes life a lot easier. Not easy, but a lot easier. It's still hellishly hard and an unhappy occasion for most people. But anyway, that's an option. You can keep your leg on top. You can, if you want, reach and hold your big toe and raise the leg up. These are variations on the Vasishthasana. Gets you out of the house. Okay, back to Adho Mukha Svanasana as calmly as you can. Breath deep. Other hand in the midline, turn on the side of the foot. And can do this on the forearm if it's too tricky. On the hand, of course. If it's very tricky, you can just enjoy how tricky it is. You can be all kind of like, whoa, God. Again, you can have a leg behind you, or you can raise the top leg and hold it and raise it up. Breath, breath, breath. Good job. Back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Well done. Well done. Fair enough. Breathe through your nose. Jaw soft. Get it through the back. Really get it going through the back. Well done. Come down, come down, come down. Fold the end of your mat that's closest to that side of the room. Refold it so you've got a triple ply surface. Take a cork block at the other end of your mat and kneel. So you just made a bit that's nice and soft for your knee to come onto. Your block's the other side. Your hands are on your hips, like someone with a lot of attitude. Then extend out your leg to your block so that your heel lines up with your knee. Your heel lines up with your knee. So check and double check. And that your standing leg slopes a little bit. Again, check and double check. And that the block cuts in where the ball of the foot meets the beginning of the foot arches. So you're not on the ball of the foot, but just at the point where the ball of the foot turns into the foot arches. Stretch your arms, turn your palms, raise your lead arm. Inhale, keep your front leg strong, which means integrated. It doesn't mean hard. It means fibers are coming together. Hand can go to the floor, some people like that, or on the leg. Turning the bottom ribs forwards, maybe stretching the top arm up and over, maybe moving your hand like this, like you're screwing in and out a light bulb, which you shouldn't do. It's dangerous to play with electricity, but you know, that kind of thing. The pose is called Parighasana, which means a crossbar of a gate, which is what one looks like, apparently. Breath, breath, breath. It's all about the breath. Keep that front leg integral. Inhale calmly, strong legs. Well done. Well done. Makes you wake up, doesn't it? Ooh. Let's do the other side when you're ready. Same thing. Catch your breath. You know, it's like it is, you know, these things are quite happening, aren't they? Can't be denied. Same thing on the other side. So similar placement. Kneeling. Hands on the hips and stretching out when you're ready. Heel to knee, let's check that. Let's check the blocks cutting in the right place. Let's check the standing leg is leaning towards the straight leg a little. You can overdo that, but just a little. Stretch your arms, turn your palms, raise your lead arm, strengthen up. That means bring all the fibers together. The front leg, come down. Your hand can come on the floor or on a block if you want. Stretch up, up, up. Good. Maybe an up's usually enough if we're honest. And of course, being honest, satya, from the root sat, which is it kind of means like it's like this. Sat kind of mean, it can mean good, it can mean the way things are. But don't look down, as they say. You're looking up. And if you're looking down, maybe you've come too low. Maybe the top arms come over too far. Don't hold your breath. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Good job. Inhale. Come on up. Well done. Bring your legs back together. Open up the mat. And bring yourself up to standing if you don't mind. I don't guess you do mind. Why would you mind standing up? It's a perfectly nice thing to do. Stand in the middle of your mat. Have your cork block over on the right side. And then actually forget the middle of the mat. Step your left foot to the left side of the mat. And the cork block's the other side. Hands on the hips. Other side. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Gwyn. Yeah. Back toes in, front foot and leg out on the ball of the foot, finish off the turn on the heel. So if you just turned on the heel now, you've got heel to heel alignment, which is incorrect. It's incorrect because it jams the lower back, jams the breath. We can talk more about it. We haven't got that long. Stretch the arms, good job. Just double check you haven't got heel to heel. Heel to arch, fine. Heel to toes, fine. Heel to heel, Inhale, exhale. I was just remembering where that people was from. Family Fortunes, I think. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Breathe through your arms. Enjoy it a bit if you want, or suffer if you prefer, or something in the middle, or check out. Just as long as you know. So you've got the choice. It's like total enjoyment through exploration, breath, space, timelessness. That's a choice. If you want, like giving, playing, breathing, adapting. Now, top arm down, bend your front knee. Walk your back foot towards your front foot. There's your block. Line it up with your 4 outer toes, about the length of the block or a bit more ahead. 3 different height options, 1, 2, 3. A directional option is there as well if you want it. You come up when you're ready without haste and without turning your toes in, if you can avoid it. Yeah. It's quite exciting. It's quite wobbly, which I like. Woo! Keep breathing into it. Jaw soft. Just having a go, aren't we? That's all. Definitely not thinking about, anything else, are you, when you're doing this? Not thinking about your problems or, what part of the house really needs doing up or, none of that's there, is it? It's just like, whoa, all you've got is, whoa. So that's good. Okay, bend your knee calmly, move through the air as if it were a bit thicker, like vegan custard. Come back through Trikonasana. Breathe through your nose if you can. Yeah, inhale, come up. Barbara's up, we're all up. Let's move to the other side. Maybe a bit more air. Shall I make some more air? No, I can't make more air. I can open the door though. And so bring your block to the other side of your mat. Make sure you step the other way. Sorry, Zoomers, I can't make more air come into your space. I don't think there's an app for that. When you're ready, same thing. Hands on hips, back toes in first, front foot and leg on the ball of the foot first. Finish the last bit off on the heel. Again, double check, especially if you've got a line on your mat. You can't possibly go wrong. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, gotcha. Reach a bit further forwards that way. Yeah. Oh, yeah, perfect. Beautiful. Inhale, exhale. Coming down into Trikonasana. Feel each micro moment. I like to feel how the weight changes on the front foot and how that affects the integrity up through the leg. Obviously, the body and the breath are part of the same thing with the mind. There's nothing you need to hold on to. Sometimes something's happened and we think, oh, such and such a person did this to me, and I must hold on to it so that I can scold them, or in future I'll never trust people with sideburns again, like that person had sideburns that did this to me, or, or whatever. But actually never step in the same river twice. So, if someone cut you up at the zebra crossing, or if someone never does the washing up at home the right way, or whatever, and you really got to tell someone at work to, that they've really got to clear their coffee cup up, and those kind of things. The yoga pose says, let go, even of that. Start afresh, return to origin. I call it the great before. And you think, well, how will they ever learn, though? If I don't hold it in my mind about you've got to clear up your own coffee cup, how will they ever learn? And then they'll just carry on through the world, leaving coffee cups everywhere. We'll never be able to move for coffee cups one day. We'll be... But there's no such thing as people. I could explain that, but I'm not going to. Arm down, bend your knee, walk your back foot in towards your front foot. The block's got 3 different height options, directional option. Try not to toe the toes in. You've got 3 options regarding your top arm. That is, extend it along the top leg, which is really good for extending the bottom ribs, or stretch it up in the air, which sort of feels a bit more like you're on a tight rope and, like holding one of those beams, and it maybe helps with balance. Or bend your top leg and take hold of the foot, chapasana, that's called. But it's all for fun. So keep in touch with that element of fun and play and joy, and a little bit silly, isn't it, as well? Like some people right now, they're drinking a coffee, reading the paper, and here we are, desperately trying to balance on one leg, Silly, really, isn't it? Okay, coming back down through Trikonasana. Make it a good one. If you can end things well, that's always good, even if the middle was a bit messy. Inhale, come up. Well done. Hands on hips, feet face forwards. Breathe through your nose. Deep natural breaths, maybe a little shimmy out, maybe a little circle, find the pelvic floor. We are going to forward fold. We do want to keep this part of the body open from here through here. We don't want to fold over the navel. Imagine if you were standing up like that. That's not a good posture. So we want to keep this whole thing open. Means we might need blocks for our hands. Turn your toes in. In other words, turn your heels out. Spread out the little toe side of the feet through movement and calmness and repetition. 3 things: movement, calmness, repetition. And experience a sense of the freedom from pressure. Like you could just do this. When we do our yoga practice, we don't want to be doing what we do in the rest of our life, like get through the housework so I can get to bed, so that I can get to work so I can get to the weekend, get through the weekend so I can get to the holiday, get through the holiday so I can get to retirement, and then get through retirement and then I can go to heaven. Or, you don't want to bring that into yoga. This is like timeless moment. So breathe, in other words, breathe. Inhale from the groins up. Exhale, fold over the top of the front thighs, hinge from the hip joints, probably hands on blocks. It's all about the pelvis hinging. Some people's pelvises keep hinging, that's fine, to not use blocks in that case. Or wherever your pelvis stops hinging, you stop. Because otherwise, continuing will mean that you're just folding over your belly and beginning to close the spaciousness of the posture that we really, really want. A wise yogin isn't desperately trying to look right. they really want to feel right, isn't it? It's like, and feeling right means flow, and flow needs space. Feeling right means flow, and flow needs space. Vahita needs akasha. Flow needs space. So keep breathing easy, moving. I'm moving on my ankles, for example, to balance and rebalance again. This is the Prasrita Padottanasana. Breath, breath, breath. It's all about the breath. As my mum once said, some 32 years ago, and I disagreed with her. Should have known then. Other wise sayings from my mum include, sleep is a tonic and everything always changes. I'm trying to remember all the wise things my mum has said. Okay. Back to fingertips. Walk your feet a little closer, fingertips on the blocks or on the floor, until you feel that you can gain some integrity in your legs enough to lead with the chest to come up. Bring the energy down to your feet. You might shake it down, move it down any way you want. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Shake, shake, shake. Now we're going to come into a preparatory or even perhaps the full pose, I don't think so, but maybe, of Ekapada Galavasana. It's a silly pose and you'll see why in a minute, but take your cork block and turn towards the midline of the room and put your cork block ahead of you. And that's how we'll start our journey into exploring experiences around Ekapada Galavasana. So Galava is one of the authors of the Rig Veda, one of the families of the authors of the Rig Veda. Anyway, no more on that, on request. Cross one leg over the other above the knee. Okay, and breathe into the, excitingness of it. And then have a look down at the top of the block. It looks like you're looking at a skyscraper from an enormous height, doesn't it? Right. So now we got to see if we can reach down all that way towards the top of that skyscraper. We're going to land on top of it. So that's bending the knee, isn't it? And it's also you're going to experience, I think most of us are going to experience quite a good amount of stretch, aka invitation, around the hip and primarily around the IT band, the iliotibial band, the outer leg, hip through to knee. So keep breathing into that. And for most of us, this is got everything we need to invite us to release the breath. Perhaps one or two, maybe you just got shorter legs and longer arms, comfortably reach the floor. Well, that's fine as well. Just probably for your reference, or maybe for one or two with short legs, long arms, strong bellies, etc. The Ekapada Galavasana brings your arms underneath your leg like this. And then you take your leg back, back, back until it comes up. And eventually you lift your foot up into the air. But that's optional. Either way, it's probably not what we've done, but either way, we come out and get ready for side two. Silly pose, really. Take a breath, standing up, Tadasana. Shake off if you want. Breathe through your nose. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Maybe you'll wiggle your fingers. Deep, natural breaths. So keep it natural, keep it spacious, keep it open, keep it relaxed. When ready, you know what to do. The other leg, you know which one you did just now, right? So do the other one. And similarly, bending, taking your time, reaching down. Maybe in time you reach your calf. That's enough. Remember, yogins are looking for enough. Maybe in the fullness of time, some reach the top of the block. Doesn't matter whether you do or don't. What matters is you're breathing into the sensations or not. Again, for the short-legged, long-armed contingency, one might reach the hands down to the floor, and then in that scenario, only in that scenario, the leg goes across the top of the arms. And again, you'll take your foot back. Good job. Coming up. Harmony, perhaps forever changed. Take your feet apart, hip width. Have a look at your feet. Make sure they're not turning out. Imagine a parallel line, or parallel lines, I should say, that go through the gap between the second and third toe. Raise your arms up, tone your tummy up. Tone your tummy means draw it in and up, and then move in ways that integrate lower back muscle fibers. So for me, I bend my knees, I sway left and right, I breathe through my nose. You know, your sankalpa, your intention, is very, very important. Your sankalpa, your intention, very, very important. Inhale, lift, exhale, fold. Hands flat means probably bending the knees. Don't hold the breath. It's the first piece of advice. Let it go, let it go. Allow movement that's part of the breath's ability to let go. So maybe you sway your bum left and right. Breathe through the nose. Now, something I quite like, I've never quite got to the bottom of why I like it, but it's a pose called Padahastasana, and you put your hands underneath your feet, palms up, and you literally just tread on your own hands, probably bent knees, probably swaying to release tensions that don't need to be there. Experimenting with weight distribution across your palms that massages the 7 bones of the carpal tunnel. So at the beginning of our hand, there are 7 bones in 2 rows. And they make a sort of like an arched bridge. The top of that bridge in this pose at the moment is facing down. And then the other side of that bridge is a strong ligament. And through that gap, that tunnel, goes various ligaments, tendons, nerves, blood vessels. So if you massage that, it's very, very helpful in terms of those nerves, muscles, because you bring more hydration to the whole area. It doesn't become so tense, and so it's got more flexibility, which allows for changes in blood pressure and so on. Now we're going to release our hands from under our feet and walk our hands forwards. Step, if you're ready, your feet back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Don't hold your breath. Move through the lower back. Lots of times, moving left, moving right, bending, extending. You can pad your heels. You know, anything that's meditative for you here and now. Anything that's meditative for you here and now. Meditative meaning absorbing. Breath deep, jaw soft, eyes soft. Just take your hands a little tiny bit further forward. Here. Well done, everyone. Good job. Come down nice and easy to a regular kneeling position, which we know is called Vajrasana. And sit up. Can put a block between the heels and buttocks. Breathe through your nose if you can. Allow swaying if it's helpful in terms of the meditative experience. And bear in mind that movement massages and hydrates. So it's all about the breath. Let it flow. Remember, everything is yoga philosophy 101. If you've ever been confused, like what the hell is yoga philosophy? Is it the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, which says that you must do your duty and that you must take your actions selflessly on the basis of your social position, and you must act not for yourself but for Krishna? Or is it the Patanjali focus on the discernment of the Purusha, the essence nature from the Prakriti? Or is it the realization of Tathagata Garbha, Buddha essence, that we find in some Mahayana Buddhist texts, on and on? What's the common ground is that everything is everything. So here and now, can you feel how movement of the body is necessarily requesting freedom of the breath? And that freedom of the breath is necessarily requesting letting go of whatever the mind took hold of. It's natural. It's organic. Come onto your hands and knees when you're ready. Take a couple more deep breaths. Maybe a little bit of circling, or whatever comes with the pelvis. It just moves the way it moves. We don't really want to get in the way of the naturalness if it does little ovals, or if it does figures of eight, or if it just sways side to side. You know, we don't want the thinking mind to get involved in that. This is something you just rest in. You just rest in it. And so it might change. It's spontaneous. You're not being spontaneous. It's just you're resting in spontaneity. Once you get the feeling of spontaneity, this is a central focus, for example, in the 9th century Tandava Yoga. It focuses on spontaneity. And we stay with that vibe as we bring the knee furthest away from me, directly behind the wrist that's furthest away from me. The foot moves diagonally across the body. You stretch back your other leg slowly as needs be. You've got two options, and you can have both, or one or the other, to lift up, which is can be utilized for particular kind of stretch of the psoas of the back leg, inner groin. That would involve tummy lifting, or come straight down to forearms, which is a great way of releasing the breath, which of course is essential. And of course you can do both or either. But it's about your breath. It's not about whether you look right, whether you're keeping up with the Joneses, the Iyengers, or The Joyces is a famous yoga teacher names. Scaravettis. But instead, whether or not the breath's opening, it's so nice and simple, isn't it? Sometimes the breath opens much better when you lean down. Sometimes it's nice to do both. Breath, breath, breath. Okay. If you're up, come down a little. If you're down, come up a little. Tuck your back toes under, bring your back knee forwards. Come back to hands and knees and take a deep breath. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. And then when you're ready, the other knee comes forwards, directly behind the wrist. The foot moves diagonally across the body. I think it's nice to take a little bit of time coming back. Maybe even massaging it in. And then either the up or the down position. It's down to the breath. If the up position you just feels awkward and difficult and you can't breathe into it, then go straight to the down position on the forearms. Don't forget movement hydrates. And hydration is flow. And flow is the positive expression of what's sometimes translated as non-attachment. Non-attachment just sounds horrible, doesn't it? I think, anyway. It just sounds like you're not close to anyone, you're sort of indifferent, really awful. But that's not what non-attachment means. Non-attachment means not attaching a sense of myself and I to particular things more than other particular things. This is mine, that's not mine. This I am not. That's attachment. The rope by which we attach ourselves to things is the labeling, emotional labeling of I, me, and mine. Breath, 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 breath. Okay. If you're up, come down a little. If you're down, come up a little. Tuck your back toes, bring your back knee forwards. Come onto hands and knees, faced towards me in a kneeling position. One hand on top of the other. Breathe through your nose. Can use a block between the heels and buttocks. We're going to send one bija or seed mantra up through the central channel. Talk about seed mantras another time. If you want to know more about these things, you can ask me, or you can join the Vajrasattva Yoga Teacher Training course when you have a lot more time. That's an advert. It's unashamedly an advert. Anyway, we're going to push the mantra Om up through the central channel just once. So the central channel, you superimpose yourself, you imagine it, so you try your best to feel it. And the idea is it gives a visceral correlate to the principle of being centered. So when you're ready, deep breath to the pelvic floor. Oh. And at the end of that, you take an extra deep breath in with a deep breath out like a sigh. Or two. And allow. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. So allowing, it's a journey from a closed fist to an open palm. I remember when the first version of the movie Dune came out back in whenever it was, that Sting in it. I saw it at the movies at the cinema, and I was really struck by that David Lynch sort of vibe, that image but it kept having an open palm in the movie, and with the words, "The sleeper must awaken." And even then, I don't know when that came out, and I don't know how old I was. In the 80s, I think it came out. Sleeper must awaken. It's really nice, isn't it, to have that? So open up both your palms. Breathe through your nose. Move left and right if you find it useful. Turn your palms. Raise your arm. Breathe through your nose. Touch the crown. Touch the forehead. Touch the throat. Touch the heart. Now we're going to do it a little bit backwards today, because it's not often that I have to say that I have a high reincarnated Lama waiting for me, but I do, and I know he's just arrived. So we're going to do our final dedication of merit now, and then into corpse pose, and that's the way we do it today. So may the benefit, any benefit that we've gained in our acting in this way, go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Om. We'll lay down on our backs, palms facing up. For our Shavasana. Shoulder blades should be scooted under, palms face up. Hands a good distance away from the body. If your head tips back, support the head. The Sanskrit word Sharanagati means surrender. Sharanagati. Surrender. Surrender. When you're ready, here's a nice thing to do. If you wiggle your fingers, you'll feel energy, consciousness, awareness flood the pelvis. So wiggle your toes and fingers, you'll feel energy flooding the pelvis and the chest. When you wiggle toes, it floods the pelvis. When you wiggle fingers, it floods the chest. So wiggle toes and fingers. And then those energies meet each other and begin to spread through the whole body like a tingling sensation everywhere. Life itself. That naturally leads to movements such as stretches, rubbing of the eye, running a hand through the hair. Then we can bend our legs, and that's another really good opportunity, because when your legs are bent, you can scoot the buttocks under. And when you scoot the buttocks under, you can release the lower back and the brain. When ready, roll onto your side, facing away from the front of the room. Lay as comfortably as you can on your side with knees drawn up and tummy soft. Roll again when you feel ready, and lay as comfortably as you can on your other side, facing towards the front of the room. Let's in a bit of light and color. And when you feel ready, bring yourself up slow and calm from the side, using your arms to assist your ascent. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time. If you are